Many people know that Cleveland was the birthplace of rock and roll, but it's also where the now common practice of building subsidized stadiums for professional sports teams got its start. So it's worth revisiting Cleveland's history of stadium building, which is emblematic of much of the U.S. experience. In 1910, the Cleveland Naps, the franchise later known as the Indians and now the Guardians, rebuilt League Park as one of the country's first concrete and steel stadiums. The privately built ballpark would later be the home of the Bears and Buckeyes of the Negro Leagues and also hosted the NFL Rams and Western Reserve football. Cleveland would also be the site of a major shift in sports venue financing. I'm standing in front of the current home of the Cleveland Browns, Huntington Bank Field, where Cleveland Municipal, or Lakefront Stadium, stood on the shore of Lake Erie for 60 years. Lakefront was Major League Baseball's first 100% publicly financed stadium when the Cleveland Indians moved here in 1932. However, its 80,000-seat capacity, multi-purpose design, and icy lake winds turned out to be ill-suited for baseball, earning it the nickname the Mistake by the Lake. Cleveland's baseball team was once again at the forefront of stadium building trends, helping usher in the Stadium Mania construction boom with its move to Jacobs Field in 1994. Known today as Progressive Field, it was designed to mimic classic ballparks of the past, providing a more intimate fan viewing experience while offering more all-field amenities and club seats and luxury boxes for fans to enjoy and earn revenue for the team. The 1990s were also when economic studies demonstrated that sports venues had not provided the riches and promise surrounding development. But the public stadium proponents argued that the next generation of stadiums like Jacobs Field were designed to avoid the mistakes of the past. Rejecting the existing economic evidence, Thomas Kemma, the former director of Cleveland's Gateway Sports Complex, which includes Rocket Arena, argued the key to sports venues being a catalyst for economic development is locating them in an urban setting and integrating them into an existing city infrastructure. He explained this should create spin-off development to create new jobs and wealth that would more than cover the public's investment. It may have sounded convincing at the time, but guess what? It didn't happen. A decade after Jacobs Field opened, a study of the surrounding neighborhood found that though it may have served as a focal point to create a coherent and vibrant urban district where one did not exist, ultimately, it thrived at the expense of other areas in downtown Cleveland, as many businesses, particularly the restaurants, have relocated from other downtown districts. While venues that opened in the late 90s like Jacobs Field may have been architecturally distinct from their predecessors, they weren't capable from overcoming the key reason why stadiums are more like economic sinkholes than development anchors. Most sports spending is just reallocated local spending, not new spending. And those stadiums may be good for sports complementary establishments like restaurants and bars, the intermittent traffic and congestion that comes with hosting events deters other businesses like retail stores and offices from opening up nearby. It turns out that Jacobs Field wasn't so different after all. Not only has Jacobs Field never turned a profit, 3 decades after it opened, it continues to lose money. Local government leaders are now having to consider new taxes to cover expenses of maintaining the sports facilities. Originally constructed for around $175 million in 1994, approximately half of which was covered by taxpayers, Progressive Field received a $200 million renovation in 2025, with the public kicking in more than $100 million of the cost. And the Guardians have a lease that keeps the team here through at least 2036. However, the Browns are abandoning Huntington Bank Field, which opened in 1999, thanks to $240 million from taxpayers, leaving downtown for a new $2 billion stadium in the suburb of Brook Park, where it's receiving nearly $1 billion in public funding. Cleveland really gets a bad rap as a rundown Rust Belt city, but in reality it's a vibrant community with a walkable downtown and is a really pleasant place to visit and live. But it's also a city that has fallen hard for the stadium grift, time and again. It's a great example of what happens when stadium subsidy proponents insist that their proposed stadium project will be different than past failures. Their promises always fall short, and still, teams always come back asking for more government handouts, and politicians remain all too willing to provide them.